Welcome back to the Fitness Fundamentals Podcast with myself, Keenan and Jared. This is episode 7. As you can tell from the title, this is all about working out when you are sick. But before we get into that topic, I would like to bring up some stuff that we did this morning as we did coach together at BFT. We had a mobility class, a mobility flow. It was just a 15-minute mobility flow that I came up with yesterday night. I was planning, researching some mobility exercises. Of course, we have our own staples like the 90-90, but I wanted something different, a little bit more dynamic. So I went into the work of Vernon Griffith, which is a guy that I've been following for a good while now. And I know you have been too.
Yeah.
So I was watching his videos yesterday night. I was like, these are some great exercises that I think would benefit our BFT members. So I put together a quick mobility flow. What are your thoughts? How do you think it turned out?
It came out really good, and I liked the idea of more of a flow towards the end. So I felt like you did a good job of starting out very gradual in that 90-90 position, working on simple movements, just hinging at the hips, pressing the legs into the ground, and then progressing it over time to more and more movement as these your hips especially is what we were focused on was feeling more fluid.
For me personally, I'm very comfortable coaching the 90-90 because we've been doing it for so long now. But
Mhm.
introducing the flow work, I don't know, I had a little bit of a hard time making sure everyone was doing it correctly and making sure everyone understood what I was trying to teach. But again, I'm gonna cut myself some slack because it is the first time teaching a flow kind of like that. So there
Yeah.
will be sometimes a few errors here and there on how I communicate, how to coach that. But it's all part of the learning process, I think, for me.
Yeah, yeah. I really liked the one where you like kind of turn and then extend the hips up really
Yeah.
high with one arm behind the back. It was really good.
Yeah. So shout out to Vernon Griffith. If you haven't checked out his work, does a lot of good hip mobility
Mhm.
stuff. And speaking on just learning from other creators or quote unquote influencers, I
Yeah,
think is very important. And I think that's like the power of social media is we have access to the best coaches around the world.
it's true. Yeah.
So people like Vernon, there's a lot of strength conditioning coaches, personal trainers that I follow on Instagram where I consume not only the short form, but also a lot of the long form content. And you just learn so much. Like there was this one dude, Alec Blennis, that I've been probably talking a lot about. He does these long form breakdowns of unconventional lifting techniques. For example, he has a whole hour video on spinal training
Mm,
and the stuff that you learn from these trainers who have been in the game for decade plus and who have actually applied the principles to themselves, you learn so much.
100%. And it's really important. Take that and try these things out. If you're curious about it, try it out on yourself first. And then if it works for you, could probably work for a client and then pass it on to a client.
Mm-hmm. Off the top of your head, do you have like a top three influencer tier list of
Ooh.
people you want to shout out?
Um, I really like that guy, Paul Frazier or something. He's an NBA
Oh
trainer coach.
yes. Yep.
Um, PJF Performance. I've been following him since like I was playing basketball in high school. And he had actually Vernon Griffin on his fitness podcast. And that's how I discovered Vernon Griffin like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to the full length of their podcast, and he was very interesting. So I would say him, big fan of Vernon Griffin. I give so many of my clients exercises that he does,
Mm.
and I really like his new. I don't know if you call it a podcast. He has people in come into his gym and just him and another expert coach just bounce
Yes.
ideas off each other and he's been having some great guys come through there. So those two, I really inspire me. And then outside of that, Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike Eschental. I mean,
Yeah,
he's like the goat of more like the bodybuilding space. If you're looking
right.
to like build muscle, he's not
Yeah,
really, in that functional space that I've been really
mm,
diving into. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, Dr. Mike's great. I just watched a video from him yesterday. He reacted to Magnus Mitbo. He's like the rock climber.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of him. but he's this
Mm,
like 160-pound rock climber. He's competed in competition before, but he's
okay.
super strong. So he can
Yeah.
do like a one arm muscle up,
Muscle up.
a one arm muscle up,
Oh God, that's crazy.
and he can do like 20 plus strict pull ups, like weighted pull ups,
Wait.
like pretty heavy. He like broke world record with that.
Wow.
What else he can do? He was lifting with Eddie Hall. You know who Eddie Hall is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eddie Hall's
World's
sick.
strongest man. So they were
Yeah.
lifting together, and he was lifting the same amount of weight as Eddie Hall
No way.
on a back row machine. I think it was like 5 plates each side. Great form.
Oh wow. So it's just like pound for pound, this guy's probably the strongest man alive.
Yeah, this guy's crazy. And what else did he do? Just full stacking the lat pull down with no struggle at all. Like perfect form.
No way.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, climbers are crazy.
Yeah, they are next level.
Yeah.
That's crazy that because climbing you do a lot of body weight
Yeah.
where like to be able to do it under like more load than your body weight's pretty
Mhm.
impressive.
And the even more impressive part of that is when he was doing the exercises with Eddie Hall, it was his first time using any kind of like row machine. I don't know if I believe that or not, but just stacking
That's
on 5 plates each side, I'm not sure. Yeah.
no way. Yeah. When I started following Mike Israetel, I was like my training was very stagnant.
Mhm.
And I started following him and I did a body scan and I put on like 8 pounds of muscle
Wow.
as a trained individual within less than a year.
Yeah.
So after that, yeah, he had to make my top three list because I
Yeah.
feel like I owe him one for that.
Yeah.
Like,
I owe him a lot too. Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, he gets a lot of hate in the community,
Hmm.
but oh my goodness, it like, and I even take it his philosophies to my clients.
Hmm.
And I have so many older clients where we'll do like a very light dumbbell bench press and I'll tell them go all the way down and like they are like, "Oh my God, that stretch feels so good." Or like a dumbbell fly. They're like, "Oh, the stretch feels good and you get to feel your muscles as you're going through the strength training."
Yeah. Do you have any other principles that he kind of talks about in his videos that you apply to your training?
Yeah, I mean, the number one principle is like finding a deep stretch in a lot of the exercises. And then I would say the tempo training too. So in that deep stretch position, pausing for a second or two, and then really focus on exploding back up on whatever movement you're doing. That's been huge for me because sometimes when I'm programming, it's important to do similar movement patterns. And if someone's seen a squat and instead of just going straight up and down, adding a little pause at the bottom definitely makes it more challenging and helps with muscle stimulus.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, anything else? There was one more thing I thought, but it'll come to me.
Yeah. Uh, During lunch today, we were talking about the founder of Bosu Ball. What's his name?
Weck method or David Weck.
David Weck. So I'm kind of like half and half on this. You can kind of bring me to my own opinion. On one side, there's people who try to reinvent the wheel. They
Yeah.
find every way of making exercise different, new, whether that's to gain more followers and attention, or maybe just the way they actually perceive quote unquote correct training.
Hmm.
And on the other side of the spectrum, there's people who kind of have been doing the things that have been established in the industry for a good while now. Yeah, they'll
Hmm.
apply their own principles. If a new study comes out, they'll try it out. But primarily, a lot of the training is going to be the center is like squats, bench, deadlift, your typical lifts. Where do you fall in that balance?
I think there's a space for both types of people to be successful, and like without someone like David Weck, like the industry won't progress forward. We need people trying
Yeah,
some stuff where we're like, oh, I don't know about that.
yeah,
Um, you could credit his like ability to try new things and like he invented the Bosu ball, so the guy knows something.
hmm
Um, but yeah, people need to push the boundaries and push the limits, but also there needs to be a underlining understanding that current principles that are just like
Yeah.
foundational principles is really important to maintain and not lose sight of that either.
Hmm. Yeah, totally agree. And I think there's an issue where when you're trying to reinvent the wheel purely for attention and followers,
Yeah.
but that's also hard to see from a consumer perspective. Is this guy talking about X, Y, and Z because he actually believes in it, or is it because he's looking for attention?
Hmm.
And I feel like that's where the average consumer who doesn't know too much about fitness, they get a little bit
Right.
confused.
Yeah,
And in this
100%.
age of, social media where you're scrolling to a different video with a different opinion every single scroll, you're kind of unsure as a consumer what to follow.
Exactly. And
Um,
in the fitness industry, there's so many different counteracting points where it's like everything contradicts itself. Like
mhm.
this exercise good, this exercise bad, this amount of sleep's good, like this recovery tool is better. So
Yeah.
like it is confusing if you don't understand some baseline principles.
I mean, even as a personal trainer who works in the industry, I still get confused. I don't know about you, but like sometimes I'll go
Definitely.
into a post, even if it's someone who I respected and known for a long time, I'll be like, this post was kind of confusing.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it
Hmm.
kind of makes me rethink my own training and my own principles sometimes. But again, it's also a way of learning. So speaking of posting, this reel that I posted on VO2 max and how it can be a good predictor of performance hit 18,500 views.
Wait, what? It
Somehow. Yeah, my
was at
average
like
views are
12K
like,
when we were just getting
yeah,
lunch.
I know. Now I was at 18.5, getting a lot of good engagement, mainly positive. Just for the viewer who doesn't really, who haven't watched the video, I talked about how VO2 max is not the end all be all for performance prediction because lactate threshold, which is often expressed as a percentage of that VO2 max, dictates or can predict performance rather than just VO2 max alone. People who quote unquote disagree with the post probably don't understand that there's, of course, nuance to this, which I'll probably explain in a further video of it's not just VO2 max and lactate threshold. There's a variety of other factors that will affect your performance, motivation, the environment, the type of exercise that you're doing, your form. But
Yeah.
on the basis of this video that I made, it's just strictly all variables controlled. If I have two people with, let's say, the same VO2 max, but one has a higher lactate threshold, the person with the higher lactate threshold will be predicted to a higher performance. Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting. Is the posts where I would think would get the least attention gets the most
Hmm.
attention, and the post
Right.
where I expect to get the most attention, I get the least attention. It's interesting. The social
It's
media
so
thing.
it's such a mixed bag.
Yeah.
So so lactate threshold has to do with lactic acid, I assume.
Yeah, lactic acid, it's basically the point where the lactate production rises so much faster than it can be cleared out of the body.
Mm,
It's also kind of like the transition. I mean, just there's so much nuance to this stuff, but it's also like the transition from an aerobic state to anaerobic state. So you're
yeah.
starting to use more of your anaerobic system, which is more of like your, you can think of it as like your muscles versus your cardiovascular.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's a topic that I learned from class, from my physio class.
Hmm.
And I have this series on Instagram where I kind of dumb it down to the average viewer and explain these physiology concepts. And yeah, this video was on that VO2 max lactate threshold.
Wow. And is lactate threshold something you could train, or is that more genetic?
When you're training your lactate threshold. We learned in
Ah.
class that your VO2 max, no matter how much training that you do, will plateau in 8 to 12 weeks.
Mm,
But that varies between person to person, of course. But generally speaking, I mean, what I learned from lecture is that it will plateau in 8 to 12 weeks. But performance can still continue to increase, obviously, after 12 weeks, right? You're not just going to stop. And that's typically due to the increase in lactate threshold,
mm.
among other factors, but that's one of them.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting stuff. It's a lot of science stuff that I'm still personally learning more.
And I wonder how much RPE plays a factor too.
Yeah, I'm sure. One of the things about or lessons I learned from my VO2 max is it depends a lot on motivation. As a participant, you can decide when to stop.
Right. Yeah.
So if I was just being a weak person that day, then I would stop earlier than if I was motivated, had some good music bumping on, then yeah, obviously I'll go higher and more. So it's just
Right.
so many factors that physiology itself probably just can't explain. There's
Yeah.
so many other things that come into play.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's talk about training while sick.
Ooh. Weren't you
Yeah,
sick recently?
I'm sick right now. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but yeah, I've been sick the last couple days. The general rule of thumb for training while sickness is if it's above your chest and up, then generally it's okay to train. Of course,
Mm,
not super intense. You shouldn't be one rep maxing. You shouldn't be PRing on a run, but it's generally safe to get some movement in.
yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes movement helps with sickness too.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a good sweat, moving your body in a full range of motion. A lot of times when you're sick, you're just laying down being stagnant. So it's really important to get your body up and moving, getting the blood flow.
Yeah. Speaking of movement, I was decided to go on some walks yesterday because I just needed some fresh air. Couldn't be stuck in my room the whole day.
Right.
And for this walk, I decided just no AirPods, just walking, listening to nature, listening to the
Yeah.
birds chirp. And I
Yeah.
realized there's not much time throughout the day where we are away from all distractions.
Yeah.
Like even on walks, you might think that you're away from distractors, but you're probably listening to music, you're probably listening to a podcast, or you're probably walking with someone else and you're having a conversation, which is great and all, but it's very rare to have a time without distractions and just have our own thoughts run.
Just like a moment of silence
A
to
moment of
yourself.
silence. And in my opinion, I think that's where the best ideas come from. I treat it as like shower thoughts.
Yeah.
Like the best ideas come from just quiet and peace. Like when you're in the shower, no one can bother you.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually how I came up with the idea of starting this podcast. I think I texted you that one day, right? At like 9
Really?
p.m. or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so random. I'm pretty sure I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure this podcast was a shower thought.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's important to find stillness within your day. Our days are already stressful, and then we add social media on top of it, and then even driving, like your nervous system's still stressed out driving
Exactly.
because it knows how dangerous it is.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, finding times of stillness where you're not like dead asleep is definitely important to find those moments throughout your day.
Yeah, and for some people they tap into like meditation, which is something I never really practiced. Have you?
But yeah, I used to super be
Yeah.
into meditation. I used to do sleep hypnosis,
Yeah.
and like this guy like will give you positive affirmations as you're falling asleep.
Okay.
And then the idea is like your subconscious mind is listening to these positive things or like whatever
Yeah.
your goal is. Um I would do that like before a basketball game. Like the night before I would specifically do one about performance.
Hmm.
And then he's like, "You're gonna perform so well while I'm dead asleep." I don't know. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. And then I would do that a lot. And then there was this other concept I used to do called quantum jumping.
Hmm.
It's like this meditation where you like try to view yourself outside of your body. And it's
Interesting.
like, yeah, it takes like so much willpower and so much of your mind capacity to like imagine it and like be in it, I guess.
Mm. That reminded me of something. Andrew Huberman has this like 10-minute, it's called non-sleep deep rest.
Oh, I do that on
Oh,
my
you
work
do?
break.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
you
I
do
listen
know
to
what
that
that
video
is.
all the
Okay.
time.
Yeah. And he kind of
Yeah,
imagines, I remember because I used to listen to that a lot. He was like,
yeah.
imagine yourself like standing in front of you, right? Is it kind of like that concept?
Yes, it's that's exactly the concept.
Ah, interesting. What is that called again?
Quantum jumping.
Quantum jump. Interesting.
Yeah, you should try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, it takes a lot to tap into it.
Hmm.
Like if you resist it, it's not going to happen. You have to like really let go, which is difficult to do.
Yeah. How often do you do NSDR?
I've done it like a handful of times.
Okay. Yeah.
If I'm ever super exhausted at work, I forget what creator I saw it from, but they talked about this Napa latte,
Uh-huh.
and what they do is they'll have like a cup of espresso. But in my case, I don't drink coffee. I have these little coffee candies that I like. They
Hmm.
have like 20 milligrams of caffeine, like nothing.
Yeah.
I like it's almost like a Jolly Rancher, but coffee. What I'll do on my break during work, if I'm hella tired, I'll put one of those in my mouth, kind of let it melt as I'm listening to Huberman. Do that, and I'll fall asleep for a little bit. The coffee kind of dissolves,
Yeah.
and then I get a ton of energy afterwards.
There's something about his voice. Does he have the most popular podcast in the health space because of the content or his voice? I don't know.
It's a mix.
It's a
He definitely
mix.
has a cult like following that loves Huberman in a different way.
For sure. Um,
Yeah,
Not to go back to that topic again, but when I was super into NSDR, it was like, yeah, I want to say a couple semesters ago in college.
yeah,
And then I was taking a neuroscience class, ENS
yeah.
307. And then our teacher, before the lecture started, played NSDR for the whole class to do in
No
silence.
way.
Yeah, and I like geeked out. I was like, I did this yesterday. I
Yeah, that's
was like, no
crazy.
way. Putting Huberman on the loudspeakers out of a lecture hall of like 100 plus people. It was pretty cool.
She played Huberman too.
Yeah, she played Huberman's NSDR. Yeah,
Wow, that's so cool.
yeah, yeah, super cool. Going back to training while sick, yesterday I decided to do a light lift. Of course, I would recommend if you're in a busy gym and you're sick, stay home so you don't breathe down someone's neck with a cold.
Yeah.
But like for me, it was empty. It was a Saturday afternoon. There was no one in the gym. So I was like, I'm just gonna get a quick lift in. Focus a lot on machines. I feel like for me, that kind of was less fatiguing. I was open to do anything else, but my body kind of just gravitated towards using machines.
Yeah.
That probably has to do some sort of, CNS, I don't know, something along the lines of that.
Fatigue or
Um,
something.
yeah, probably. I don't know. Do you train while you're sick?
I have before, and like usually I do some kind of steady state cardio. Um, or I think I haven't done much lifting while I'm sick. Usually steady state cardio.
Mhm.
Whether that's just like going outside, playing a little bit of basketball, shooting around a little bit, or it's going on a brisk walk. So my dad always taught me to sweat it out. I don't know if there's any science behind that. So
Yeah,
sometimes
I'm
I'll
not
like
sure.
go hoodie sweats, tie it up here, and like go for a light jog or a power walk. Yeah, or yeah, play basketball. That's another one. As far as lifting goes, if I were to lift, I'd probably lift like within 4 reps of in reserve. Super lightweight, like 50% to 70% of what I'd usually lift. And the main idea would be for me just to get movement in,
Hmm.
make sure
Yeah,
my body's not stagnant.
yeah. Like yesterday, super lightweight, 12 to 15 reps for like all the sets, and
Yeah,
none of them were remotely close to failure.
right.
Because once you start pushing it, your body just wants to, you're fighting yourself at that point.
Exactly.
And I know we talked a lot about, like training while traveling, but the principles of training while you're sick kind of also applies. If you've been consistent for, months or even years leading up to getting sick, then that all that training pays off. And that one session that you decide or don't decide to do when you're sick is not going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
not going to get that much benefit if you or like down setbacks if you just skip like a couple sessions when you're sick. So I think it's all a
Exactly.
mindset thing too. Is if you want to move, go ahead. But if you're also just not willing to work out and you want to rest, that's okay too.
Yeah, you don't got to force a workout while you're sick by any
Yeah.
means.
And I used to be like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to like, even though I was sick, I would just continue the same intensity. Whatever I did last week, try to match it at least. But that did not go well.
Right, right. I bet you're just like starting out training. You're like,
Just read into it. In a
that's
commercial gym
crazy.
too is not great. Like you have other
Yeah,
people around you is like I'm sure the other people probably don't feel comfortable being around either. I mean, at that point, yeah, you should probably just stay home.
yeah. Rest is probably the number one thing while you're sick. Don't feel like you have to work or work out. Like rest up. It's also a sign. Sometimes people just get sick when they're overstressed
Mm.
or they haven't been in quality sleep, and your body just needs to find a way to slow you down. Like sometimes you'll just get sick for a few days just to slow your body down a little bit.
Past couple of days, I slept like 10 hours, like 9.5, 10 hours.
Wow.
My watch gave me a warning. They said one outlier in my vitals, which is my sleep time. That's interesting.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, sleep is very important, especially when you're sick.
Yeah, like don't work out if you're like got no sleep the night before and you're sick. Yeah, so yesterday I was listening to a Huberman and I forget the guest that he had on. Anyways, the guest he had on was a neuroscientist and he was talking about how to manage emotions and he talked about the emotion of anger
Hmm.
and how when you're like peak level of angry, how to start to be mindful in the moment when you're like peak angry and how to manage that. And he talked about when you are like at your top of your shit angry, that you should acknowledge that emotion and say it out loud. And that helps like bring you back down to baseline.
Hmm. So next
Yeah.
time I'm in public and someone cuts me off, I'll be like, I'm angry. That'll calm
Exactly.
me down.
Right, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Like physically saying it out loud.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you manage? Have you ever been angry recently or
Have I
like,
ever been angry? Um, Trying to think to the last time I've been angry. No, I don't know. Anger is not really an emotion that like comes off often for me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a
right?
bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna get annoyed here and there sometimes, but
Yeah.
never to where it affects the day of my life.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Every time someone asks me about like, you know, different emotional feelings, I'm always like, huh, let me think about that.
Right, right.
Yeah. Maybe that's something I have to
Yeah.
tap into a little bit more.
Your emotions?
My emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
I
about you?
mean, if you feel them, don't suppress them, but if you feel them, yeah. You know what's funny is since I was a kid, whenever I get angry, I just start doing push-ups.
I like that.
I immediately just drop to the floor and do push-ups. Like I remember sixth or seventh grade, there was this massive earthquake in uh Napa, like 3 o'clock in the morning. It
Hmm.
was like 6.7 or 6.8, and like all the stuff in our kitchens everywhere. Mom's crying, and we're like, what the hell, basically. I just walked over to the floor and I just dropped down, started doing push-ups.
That's
It's just
I wouldn't. I'm not even surprised.
it's just what like in the moment my that's my immediate response. Like I just need to drop down, like let it out there. Or if my anger, I mean, I guess like anger is very much something in the moment, but if you have like ongoing something that frustrates you or mad about, going to the gym is the absolute best
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yes.
It's some of the best lifts are like when you're just pissed off.
Maybe that's why I'm never that angry because all I do is go to the gym and just let out all the anger there.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
could be a reason why.
exactly why.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's why like martial art fighters are so calm
Mm,
because they let out all their energy, any stress or anger out on whatever martial art that they do.
yeah. Interesting. No, I'll definitely try to tap into my emotions a little more. Next time I'm angry, I'll bring it up on the podcast and explain what got me angry.
Right, yeah.
But like
That
when I think about it a little bit, I think a lot of the whether it's stress, anger, any of like the what people see as not great, states of mind to be in,
Yeah.
I try to think of it in a positive perspective. I'm like, relative to a lot of other people's problems, the problem that is causing my stress or my anger is so minuscule compared to
Yeah.
what other people are experiencing.
Hmm.
And I think I always have that thought process in the back of my mind. I'm like, should I really even be worrying 1% about this issue right now?
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
always no. Like, it's not even
Right.
remotely close to anything that's, you know, other people experience.
That's true. And it's good to have perspective like that. And like anything that you're going through, it might feel hard in the moment, but bird's eye view, it's never as hard as you make it out to be. Like have anxiety about something, it's never as bad as you think it is. Um, and I think what you feed your mind, it like could make a problem bigger than what it is.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
If you're an emotional therapist out there, we would love to have you on the podcast.
I know someone.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I train a really good therapist in the industry.
I think we need to bring them on.
Yeah,
We're gonna let out
yeah.
some feelings on this podcast.
you, you could be like, why don't I feel my emotions?
Let's see how that plays out.
I know, yeah.
And then
No,
we're gonna
should
end
be
up in an
real.
argument together. It's like this is how I feel angry.
Yeah, right. And then she'll be like, you're actually suppressing your emotions.
I was like, I'm not suppressing none of my emotions.
Oh my goodness.
That'll be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Sometimes people say emotion. I heard someone relate it to energy and motion, and that's why it's good to exercise
Mm,
if you're ever feeling emotional. But who knows?
yeah. Who knows? I think we'll learn as we grow.
Right, right. I think a lot of it does come with age and experience.
Yeah. In order to wrap up this podcast, let's talk about the class today after we did the
Yeah.
mobility flow.
Yeah. So after we did the mobility flow, all of our members are testing on max out squat, 5 rep max on squat, 5 rep max on bench press. So it was really important to us to have movement patterns that relate to that. The one that I would say we focused on a little bit more from a scientific or more strategic perspective was the bench press. So what we had people do was 70% of their 5 rep max, and we just had them do 5 reps of their 70%. Um, Main goals were to focus on form and technique. So we warmed up the shoulders, and then warmed up the chest by just doing an empty bar, focusing on just bench press technique. And then after that, got into 3 to 4 rounds of 70% of their 5 rep max, just so they could feel some load and it's not like a surprise for their body this upcoming week when they see their 5 rep max testing.
Yeah, because today's Sunday, they're testing on Wednesday, so they have a good amount of time to rest and prepare. But yeah, like what you're saying, a light session, just getting some last minute form and technique down, and honestly, just getting used to that movement. And only 70%, but some load on the bar as well, really helps you prepare mentally for that test day on Wednesday. And then we finished off the session with some just light body weight rows and single leg RDLs. Reason being is the next day, tomorrow, they're going to do back squat testing. So we don't want to interfere with um, any additional fatigue from the exercise that we program. So body weight stuff, very light, honestly, just to get the body to move.
Yeah, we also did the heel elevated squat.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't tell them to go heavy per se, but I mean, heel elevated front goblet squat's a lot different than the back squat that they're going to be testing with, but it allows them to really sit down in their squat a little bit more. So getting them more comfortable at the bottom position of their squat was important to us.
Yeah. Overall, I think it was a great session. Start off with a mobility flow, went into some bench technique, body weight exercises. great restorative mobility that I think was very much needed, especially after a mixed cardio session yesterday. So
Yeah, yeah. So definitely a session focused on mobility, restoring like it, just like making sure that these people or nervous system is feeling ready for a really hard, I mean, a really hard lifts that they're going to be doing this
mhm.
upcoming week.
And unfortunately, that was our last class in a good while before coaching together again, as I will
Yeah,
be returning back to San Francisco for summer break. We'll continue to have the podcast, and we have some exciting guests coming up. I don't know if you want to speak to some of that, or should we keep it private?
we don't got to say their names, but we might be having some physical therapists on, some people that specialize in stretching and personal training, and then online personal training coaches. So, lots of different specialties that we want to have on the podcast and a variety of different people.
Yeah, it's in the works. A lot of stuff coming up. So make sure if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. And if you're watching on Spotify, make sure to give us a 5-star rating and give us a follow.
Let's go.